I'm just trying to push, and last session, which I can't say no to Shailesh, because the session was too impressive. So that's where again we got delayed. So without any further delay, we'll be moving to the next session, which is the Demystifying Chatbot by Satish Medapati, who is the founder and CEO of Intentico Inc. So Satish Medapati brings in around 16 plus years of expertise in serial entrepreneurship and corporate experience. He had spent a decade in corporate life doing analytics and data sciences across verticals and across geos. As an entrepreneur, he built deep tech product startups from ground up and raised venture capitalists. His area of expertise lies in the cup of data sciences, technology, and products. He is currently the founder and CEO of Intentico Inc., a cognitive customer experience company that aims to resolve customer queries within 60 seconds through the uses of chatbots, speech bots, and other AI products. In his spare time, he delivers lectures on entrepreneurship, data sciences, and product technology across various prestigious institutions in India, such as IIIT, IIT, NIT, IIM, etc. So, over to you, Satish.
Thanks, Mahesh. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'll try to keep this a bit interactive once we go to some level. So, coming to demystify chatbots, right? So, when we say demystify, essentially we are going to go and ask the whys, the whats, and the hows of it. Like, why do we need a chatbot? What is it? How do we do it? And where does the future lie, right? So this is my agenda, history and evolution. I'll start with that. We'll answer the why first, and slowly we'll go ahead and say that where are they used, how are they used, and I'll also give a small demo of my own company's bot, and I'll leave it for Q&A. Yeah. So you can just look at this screen. I don't know how many of you can recognize what is there on the right side of your screen. These were called as pin setters, okay? And this is a bowling alley that you see today, and that's the Pinstack you see where a machine comes and does it. But when it was started for a long time, bowling alleys used to be something like this, you know, the one that you're seeing it on the right side of the screen, where people used to go ahead and put it up. Yep. If you move next, right, you see that, you know, these were called, I think, I don't know the exact nomenclature, I forgot, but these are essentially knockers, yeah, knocker-ups. These were called as knocker-ups, who basically means that if I have to go at 8 o'clock, then in New York or something, and this was like, you know, probably 1800s and late 1800s, this guy would come and knock on your door, okay? And it's just an alarm clock. That's what has been replaced, right? So a couple of jobs like this have been replaced in history, and it's been happening forever. There's nothing like new today, right? So just keep these two images in mind while we go ahead and start talking about chatbot. So the easiest definition that I have taken, a definition of chatbot is like, it's essentially a piece of software code that someone writes so that there is a conversation or an interaction that is happening between a human being and a machine. And the machine is essentially mimicking a human conversation, right? Something like, if I am presenting it today, what if a bot can actually go ahead and present similar to what I'm doing right now? Yeah. And yeah, there is also something called as Turing test. I'm sure if you're a computer science student or if you're interested in it, all of you know, 1955 is what I think Turing test. Alan Turing has designed the Turing test. Yeah. So if you go to a brief history of chatbots, the first ever chatbot happened way back in 1966 with something called as Elisa. Joseph, I think Weizenbaum, that's how we pronounce it. I'm not really good at German American names. Joseph Weizenbaum is a guy who actually started a chatbot in 1966. and he named it Eliza. So this was a simple, very, obviously 1966, so it's going to be very, very, very simple. And it was doing a pattern matching for keywords. And it's more related to like let us say if I type something, he'll go and check out in a repository if there's something else. And if there's a nearest match, he's going to go ahead and put it back. Then came, contextual pattern matching with Zabarwaki. Then, the speaking chatbot actually started in 1992, and Alice, which is artificial, I think, linguistic, internet, computer entity. I think that's the full form of Alice, I think. And that was almost a precursor for our Siris and Google Nows. Smarter Child is actually on the voice side. Smarter Child was a precursor for Siri and Google Now, and Alice was like, very important stuff in terms of heuristic pattern matching, right? And of course, we have evolved, and we all know, how to talk to Siris or Google Nows or whichever it is. And we also know what happened with Tay, the Microsoft chatbot that actually gone racial, right? So if you look at the evolution, it started for fun. Then it went into IT labs, research labs, essentially, of big companies. Then it came down to, hey, can I make it for me? Can I do a small task for me, right? So predominantly consumer-oriented. And then if you look at right now, it's all going to be in enterprise, right? And enterprise obviously is, the last of the lot to pick this up. Yeah. And this is what is our perspective of evolution of customer experience. So if you look at it, right, if I have to put it succinctly, CX 1.0 is about content, is about being disparate, and is about being cost, right? So I have an email support, I have a toll-free number, you go ahead, call it, do whatever, right? And then when we slowly evolved, where we talked about multi-channels and predictive customer service. So you have a live chat, you have social channels, you have knowledge bases, you have IVR decision trees, you can talk to a call center agent, so on and so forth. But if you skip this and go to the next evolution, which is like your CX 4.0, we are talking about going completely conversational with computer vision and AR actually getting integrated, right? We see that happening in driverless cars. We see that happening in, Alexa, Google Homes. We see that happening in many, many areas, right? So it's going to be a convergence, right? Rather than a disparate one, this is going to be, customer is going to control the channel, the interaction, the timing. It's not like, if you have a problem, call me between 10 to 5, Monday to Saturday. No. Me as a customer is going to decide when to call, how to call, or whether to call or not, right? So this is what is going to be completely changed, and this is where chatbots form one component of this whole CX4 era. Yep. And if we go to a reason as to why, right? Nobody likes, I'm sure all of you have heard, right? You're our most important customer, and you're in queue number 19 or queue number 20, right? If I'm the most important customer, expect to be served now. I really don't want to be waiting for about 25 minutes, right? So that is when, it evolved, and people said that, okay, why do we need chatbots? Because customers today require contextual and personalized services. I need to get what I need to get, right? When I need to get it. So what are the use cases if you look at it, right? Quickly, of course, most chatbots have 24-hour service because it's not human being, right? You can get an instant response, channel is yours, right? Communication is easy with the NLP bots. NLP is natural language processing, and it's about mimicking a human conversation that we spoke about, right? And it's a good customer experience provided the bot works, yeah? And most of your redundant questions, right? Let's say if you buy something on Amazon or Flipkart, right? And you want to know about the delivery, you want to know about, can I return it? You want to know about, what are the shipping charges? You want to know about what happens if XYZ happens, right? So all of these problems are going to be completely resolved through chatbots, or rather are being resolved. right? You can buy, you can do customer service, you can do marketing, you can do. So the short answer is the use cases of chatbot is n number, because there's really no honest answer to say that this is where you can actually use it, right? Anywhere where there is a conversation that is required, right? We are not talking about a machine talking to another machine, right? That's where chatbots are probably not useful. But when there is a human being at one end of the conversation, everything that you can think of, you can go ahead and do it at chatbot, right? And which industries? The short answer is all, because it really doesn't matter. It is a horizontal. It's industry agnostic space. You have it in automotive industries. You have in healthcare. BFSI has always been ahead of picking it up, right? And of course, channels, right? People have started utilizing different channels. I'm sure all of us use messaging platforms, right? Like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, or if you're in the corporate world, Skype or Slack, or whichever you use, right? Asana, all of this, right? All of this has completely changed the way we interact with others as well as with companies. And why not put marketing, lead generation, customer service, and everything else into the same channel? And why not now add the language, right? The next billion for Google is going to be coming from India, is what they say, right? And the next 500 million is going to be vernacular. It's not going to be probably in English, right? So that's where it is coming from in terms of how to use it, where to use it, and why to use it. And if you go ahead and break down what exactly is an chatbot, right? So the first thing that we need to know is something called as an intent. What is an intent? An intent is actually the drive of a customer. What is he or she asking for? I'm hungry. What does that mean? I need some food, right? I'm thirsty. What does it mean? Okay, I need something to drink to quench my thirst, right? Similarly, you say, I want to fly from Delhi to Paris tomorrow, right? Then is the intention the cheapest flight, the best flight, the shortest flight? We don't know. We probably need to go ahead and do it. So intent is classified as this drive of the customer to the last action item or last, or how do I put it? The last intention of what he or she wants to do, right? And how do we translate that into a machine understandable thing, right? And I may communicate it in different ways, right? I would say, find me the cheapest flight from Delhi to Paris, right? Is the same intent as saying that, okay, I'm planning to fly from Delhi to Paris, and can you tell me the best possible prices? That is the same intent, right? So that's the most important thing, and this is where NLP comes in, where intent is classified, right? NLP algorithms essentially have two parts, NLU and NLG, natural language understanding. Natural language understanding is the ability of a machine to understand what the customer has typed, okay? So whatever I have typed or whatever I speak, right? Text or speech doesn't matter, right? So if I do that, then can the machine or the system understand? This is called as NLU. And NLG is about natural language generation. Can it generate, right? Whatever is the response. Right? Typically, you don't use NLG for most of the AI chatbots because the answers are known, right? So the second most important component that you need is something called as entities. Entity is any attribute in simple terms, right? In our example, right, thirst, water is an entity, beer is an entity, coffee is an entity, right? In the travel example that we showed it here, right? Delhi is an entity, Paris is an entity, date is an entity, most of it, right? Every attribute, right? So this is again part of NLP, right? So it understands. So now when I say that I want to fly from Delhi to Paris on 30th June, let us say, right? then that means that I have given my intention to the bot that, hey, I plan to fly from X to Y, right, source to destination, on an entity which is called as a date, and the date value is essentially 30th June, right? And then there could be a business class, there could be an economy class, there could be a premium economy class, or 100 other things, right? I could prefer a vegetarian meal or a non-vegetarian meal, AVML, whatever, right? So those are all the entities. Now, all of this put together is given to this interface, right? One interface, okay? And that interface is understanding, oh, okay, you as a customer wants to fly from this place to this place on this date, okay? Now, this is all NLP does, okay? Simple to saying that, okay, what's your name, I ask, okay? And the expected answer from you is, my name is XYZ, right? Or some name, you'll say, right? You'll say Satish, Mahesh, whatever is the name. And but NLP doesn't do that. It just understands, right? And it just keeps quiet. Now, where do we go and search for this answer, and how do I go? Because the action is not performed, right? So this action is essentially called as, either a bot builder or a flow management or whatever you call, right? And it could come in from an energy, it could come in from a data source, it could come in from an API, from another system, or anything, right? So now NLP understands that I want to fly from Delhi to Paris on so-and-so date. What should it do? It understood that I want to fly and I want a budget airline or whatever, right? So it has all my preferences. It goes now and checks. Where does it check? It cannot do by itself. It goes to a Skyscanner, it goes to a Galileo, it goes to a Sabre, or wherever it is, right? It goes, checks there, picks the data, filters the data based on what I said as my preference data set, right? And then shows me saying that, hey, you wanted to go on June 30th, probably there are no flights available as the easiest answer, right? But assuming that flights are being operational, let us say, right? So it gives you all these things, hey, this is the cheapest, this is the best, this is what it is, and all that stuff, right? And then I can go ahead and do some actions. So all this information that it is picking up is coming from the backend APIs or backend data, whichever way it is getting connected, right? And then the next part is called as conversational user experience. It is about how do you converse with the human being at the other hand. So we are teaching the bot about how we are conversing. It could be like a travel agent. The way it talks is that very different. It could be a young woman assisting you. It could be a 45-year-old man assisting it, right? So the way we talk, the way the dialogue is presented, the way it has been, conversation is designed, right? Where do I have something to click? Where do I have something to talk? Where do I have buttons popping up? How should it be looking like, right? How easy is the interface? How easy is it to talk to the bot? All of these things form this CUX, which is a conversational user experience. These are the major elements, and CUX could be very, very different based on the language, right? So these are the major components of a AI chatbot, right? And of course, there are like a multitude of things that are going deeper and deeper into it. But right now, sorry, is someone saying something? I don't know.
Guys, you need to mute yourself. If you're not using, kindly mute yourself. Thank you. Yes, Satish, go ahead.
Thank you, Mahesh, right? So now when we go to this, right, why now? We started with, 1966, if you all remember, right, with Eliza. Why now? The reason is very simple. This is the right time, right? We have smartphones, we have frameworks that are open source, we have data and APIs almost from everywhere. We have cloud platforms. You don't have to go and buy servers and all that, right? I mean, or rather, it's pretty cheap to buy, right? And you have everything that is open source, so you can actually go ahead and use it, right? And this is the reason why this is the cusp, right? If you look at the growth rates of messaging platforms or growth rate of voice or growth rate of people moving to bots, right? And especially even after COVID, right, where you do not have an ability to operate a 10,000 or a 50,000 agent call centers, right, at one place. How do you manage this? How do you make sure that customer service is honored? How do you make sure marketing leads are being generated, right? All of these things are now moving in even faster than what it was 2-3 months ago, right? And the reason is because of all this, right? So I'll just end up with one quick video of what we call as a multi-mode bot, right? This takes about both text as well as speech so that you get a good idea of it. So I'm just going to go play this.
Intentico omni-channel bot.
Going to show you how travel booking can be automated through Intentico's cognitive bots.
Okay, so what can you do?
I am an airline bot and can assist you with flight bookings or check-in or baggage-related questions.
Can you book a flight for 2 people on September 10th?
Sure, could you please assist me with source and destination?
I would like to go from Delhi to Paris.
Sure, happy to assist you in booking a flight from Delhi to Paris. Please select your preference.
What does most comfortable mean?
Mahesh, are you seeing the
It means a
screen?
minimum layover and connecting.
Mahesh, are you seeing the screen?
No, we can hear you only voice.
Oh, I'm so sorry. One second. I just replayed. I'll go ahead and share this tab. Yeah, I think video is not visible. So one second, just give me a second. Just let me know whenever you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Channel bots. Channel bot.
Going to show you how travel booking can be automated through Intentico's cognitive bots.
Okay, so what can you do?
I am an airline bot and can assist you with flight bookings or check-in or baggage-related questions.
Can you book a flight for 2 people on September 10th?
Sure, could you please assist me with source and destination?
I would like to go from Delhi to Paris.
Sure, happy to assist you in booking a flight from Delhi to Paris. Please select your preference.
What does most comfortable mean?
It means a minimum layover and connecting airports, and you may have a good sleep as well. I shall show business class fares too. Please let me know which option are you looking at.
Okay, I would like the best value option.
Got it. Please select the flight.
The most economical one.
Thank you. Are there any children traveling below 12 years?
No.
Thank you. Please help me with your name, date of birth, email, and phone number. Excellent. Now, please review the total price and confirm if you are fine with this.
Yes, I would like to confirm.
Please wait while I redirect you to a payment page.
Okay.
Congrats. Your payment is successful and your flight itinerary has been sent to your email and phone.
Okay, thanks.
Would you like to confirm your passport and flight meal preference and seat selection?
Could you remind me to do that later, please?
Okay, I shall remind you a few days ahead of the trip or you can complete the details
you.
Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to serving you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a mixed mode or a multi-mode bot, which can take both text as well as voice, right? So both of it can probably be taken, and yeah, so that's going to be, and then you add visual layers, you'll add computer vision, you add AR. That's going to be probably the future, and this itself is probably futuristic. Yeah, you typically have bots which are more like only textual or only on the conversation voice. Yeah. So that brings an end to my session. We have covered the history, we have covered why, we have covered how, we have covered components, we have covered what is it, and have also shown you a demo of what it looks like for a mixed mode or a multi-mode bot. And yeah, I think we are right on time. Mahesh, we can have a couple of questions probably, and that's pretty much it.